Bats play a crucial role in our ecosystem because they are long-distance pollinators. Birds and bees also collect nectar and pollen and disperse that, but they don't travel as far. The bats are able to travel up to 100 kilometres a night, so what happens is you get biodiversity with our forests. Seeds from one forest are taken so far away to start a new forest. So, you know, when we complain about them pooping on our clothing or our cars, that's exactly what they're meant to do. It's not their fault that they're in suburbia because we've destroyed their natural habitat. We have to learn to share this planet. We have to learn to get along. So we're just going to make up little Jackson's feed now. He's a little red flying fox and he requires milk. Okay, follow me into the bat cave and I'll introduce you to little Jackson. So this room is actually set up for multiple baby bats. At the moment, I only have the one, which is completely out of sequence for this time of the year. But normally there would be 4 to 8 little baby bats in this room. So I'm going to get little Jackson out now. Let's put some protective gloves on. I'm putting these gloves on not because he's aggressive or dangerous, but because his claws are exceptionally sharp, which enables him to cling onto mum, and he will cling onto my hand, causing scratches. So, little Jackson. That's just the humicrib humidifier making that noise. Hello, sweetheart, you're still asleep. We're going to wake him up for his feed. He gets fed every 3 hours, day and night. So it's just like having a real baby. I'm up during the night feeding him. Okay, sweetheart. Wakey, wakey. Wakey, wakey. There you go, darlings. Hello. He's very sleepy, aren't you? Hmm? So the first thing I'm going to do is toilet him. See if he wants to go to the toilet. So we just dampen the little tissue. Make sure it's not too hot. His mother would actually lick him to stimulate him. I draw the line at that. We are going to use a little tissue. Hello, you're waking up now. Yes, you are. Bats actually invert to go to the toilet. Because when you think about it, if they're hanging like this and they go to the toilet, it's going to run down into their face. So they actually have to invert and hang on with these little hooks to go to the toilet. Okay. Now I can see you've made a little mess on this wrap, so we're going to get you a new wrap. All right. Here's one I prepared earlier. The reason we have these is we're trying to replicate what it would be like for him with his mum in the wild. So at the moment he believes he's on mum's teat. He believes he's clinging onto her body. Yes. And then mum would wrap her wings around him, making him feel nice and secure and safe. And he's quite happy like that. Hey, darling. Yeah. So with him, instead of a bottle and teat, he's got a teat in his mouth, but it's a blind teat. There's no hole in it, so he's not sucking air. That's his little dummy, and we're just going to put the milk on the dummy like that. And in it goes. There we go. Good boy. Now the position I have him in, he's slightly elevated, as you can see, about 60 degrees at this age, and on his side so that the milk is not running straight down the back of his throat. When he first came in, he was only 40 grams. He's now 120. He's about coming up to 5 weeks old now. He was 5 days premature. So it really is quite a miracle that he's alive. He's such a special little boy. And as I say, being a red, normally the little reds have taken off back up north to the tropical weather to Cairns to birth. But because of climate change and loss of habitat, a lot of the foxes are now moving around chasing food. and there's a camp of them at Coolum who decided to stick around for the food and got caught out, and they didn't make it back to Cairns for birthing, and he was born here, but it's far too cold for him here, which is why he's in the humicrib, why he's on a heat pack now, and why this room is heated. They're a keystone species. They're our only flying mammal, and the birds and bees do the day shift. They're very good at collecting pollen and nectar and dispersing. But these guys will fly 100 kilometres in a night, which bees and birds don't do. So what happens is we get that biodiversity. They're spreading seeds 100 kilometres away, which is excellent for our forests, for our biodiversity. A lot of people say that with koalas, it's no tree, no me. But with the bats, it's no me, no tree. So a lot of our wildlife species are dependent on the forests that these guys maintain for us and propagate. Look at that, big stretch, good boy. And this one, and this one, good boy. There you go, good boy. Big stretch, yeah. Now, would you like to hang for a little bit? So we start out by supporting them while they're doing this, and gradually he's taking the weight himself now. Here we go. There you go. Not letting go of that tummy. Your little ears inside out, look. There you go. Good boy. They're very, very intelligent. They have the same intelligence as a dog. They learn their name. They can learn their name. They're very ticklish, and they just love affection. They give you lots of little kisses. Because mum is very, very attentive. She would be grooming him every day, most of the day, licking him, giving him attention. And so that's why it's really important that we do the same thing. So what we're going to do now is pretend that mum is licking him all over and giving him a lovely bath. So I've got a little bit of cream here. We use creams that are obviously no SLS or EDTAs and parabens and things like that. I've got it slightly warmed here. And so what we're going to do now is give him a little bath, not with water, but with cream. So what this does is it just lubricates the skin, the membrane of the wing, which, as you can see, is very, very flexible. I guess the closest thing you could equate it to would be like your eyelid. It feels like your eyelid. Hey, darling. Yes, and he loves his bath, don't you? Yes, you do. So what I'm doing is I'm doing both sides at the same time here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I'm doing the top and the underside. So this not only cleans, but it moisturizes, which mum would be doing for you, wouldn't she? Yes, she would. Yeah. Loves having his face done. Down to the very tip. Oh. Oh. Yes. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Hey? All clean. Gotcha. Now that would seem very weird to him because he's upside down.
Yes.
Beautiful eyes. Gorgeous boy, yes. Alrighty. Well, now it's time for our sunbathe. So normally when we're called out to rescue a little baby bat, we would pick it up in something like this rescue basket here. It would be set up with your little bat burrito in there, like so. So the little bat we would rescue and wrap in a bat wrap like this. Pop him into here, head down. These are on either side just to stop him rolling around in the car. There's a heater underneath here and also a thermometer. So we need to have them at about 28 to 30 degrees. So we put a little probe near the head and we measure the ambient temperature, not the actual temperature in his wrap. It's just the ambient temperature that we want. Then we would probably take it to Australia Zoo to have it x-rayed and checked over, and then he'll come home. He will spend quite a bit of time in a basket like this until he gets to a stage where he wants to get out of that wrap and hang, and he'll start hanging on this basket. At that stage then, after a couple of feeds a day, we would put them onto an area like this. So he would then go in his little bat burrito. After a feed, we would pop him onto an area like this. Again, about 60 degrees at this stage. That's what it would be like on Mum. And we would leave him there for about an hour. Now, once he's used to this new surroundings, he'll start to venture out and hang on the area and start practicing his flapping and, you know, just using his muscles and moving around. I have a little jungle gym here that he can climb on, little teddies and toys to cling to, native flora for him to get used to smelling and playing with. So if one of them was to accidentally fall off, they can get back up by climbing up this. We also have a bat ladder here that goes up to the wire, and that way they can play along there and practice flying from towel to towel. Once they get to the flying stage, then it becomes quite tricky because we have to do a complete makeover in this room and make sure that all the walls are covered with curtain material or towels so that they can fly and cling on. And so they'll be whizzing around in here and flying from towel to towel. Once they get to that stage, they can go out to the aviary to get used to the outdoors and hone their flying skills a little bit more before they go to creche. So usually little baby bats come in September, October, and by the end of January, Australia Day, they all go to creche. We have a wonderful, wonderful creche with a huge flying aviary. They go into one part first to become acquainted with other bats. Then we test flight them, weigh them, measure them, and if they pass the test, they go into a huge aviary where they really do become little test pilots and hone their skills, ready for release. There we go. Hey, come on, let's go outside. Come on. It's a bit of sun. So normally we would sit outdoors in the sun, probably under a tree, so we've got semi-sunlight, like a dappled sunlight. We don't want full-on sunlight that would burn, but the idea is to give him at least 10 minutes, and as he gets older, up to 20 minutes or even half an hour of sun a day, because they need that vitamin D for their bone growth. As you can see with their wings, there's lots of fine little bones in there. And it doesn't matter how much calcium you give them through the mouth or through their food or milk, it cannot convert to the bone growth without vitamin D, so they need the sun. There we go, there's a bit of sun. Because it's early morning, this sun isn't strong anyway, so even though we're not sitting in dapple, it won't burn. So you can see he is quite red compared to your black fruit bats and your grey-headed. Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. So another way we normally give them their sun is to hang him on my shirt. Now this is definitely fraught with danger because we have little poo-poos sometimes. Hey. Hello, darling. Hello. Is that sun nice? Yes. Okay, you ready? So the good thing about this is you can actually get them to open their wings out to absorb maximum vitamin D. Yeah. There you go. You can see he was asleep a minute ago, but he's wide awake now. This is just getting him used to his surrounds and the outdoors, the sounds, the birds. the smells. And then normally what I would do is walk him around and let him have a little sniff at some of the leaves. Good boy. Okay. My little bat burrito. There we go. Now I'd like to show you the aviary where he will eventually end up before going to creche. So this is my possum aviary. I normally have ringtails or brushtail possums in there, rehabilitating. This one's normally for birds. Oh, this is my daily wash. So when you're a bat carer, every day is wash day. Little bat wraps. Spare cages. Okay, so this is the bat aviary, but at the moment there's birds in here. Hello, babies. Okay, now, here. Settle down, settle down, settle. Come on. Have you had enough? Yeah, come on. I've now got to teach them to grab food on the wing, which is what they do in the wild. Right, now all done for 15 minutes. So we are the predominant species on this planet, and we have a moral obligation to help the wildlife, especially since a lot of the predicament they're in at the moment is due to humans. So I guess, especially with bats, they get a really bad rap, but if people could only understand how crucial they are to our ecology and how incredibly important they are for other species survival, I think they would see them quite differently.